that website, oftentimes you'll find that if you just look at the website that folks have, you can get a lot of your questions answered from some of the FAQs they have on there, some of the tools that they have on there. From this live, Miss Liz has already answered a lot of questions that I know veterans have about Social Security disability benefits. So we appreciate you being with us today.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Liz.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. So, Dwayne, do we have a station break, or we have somebody else coming next?
Oh, no station break.
No break. Listen, no break.
And the reason why I wanted, because I wanted Raider to tune in before we get into the next segment, the TDIU segment and SS and going over the amount of money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted Raider to just give us a few pointers on that, and then we can get into Mr. Davis.
Okay. And I know, real quick, Raider, I know you were not scheduled to be here today, so we definitely want to respect
and Raider. Yeah, and Raider, we know you're going live tonight. We don't want to coincide with that. So if you need rest or whatever before that, we want to be respectful of it.
No, I push that to tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
I have a conflict. I have a conflict today. So I can't
but before you leave, just don't leave, because you know what you got to give us before
you got to give us before you leave.
Right. So don't think you're just going to skip out and just.
There's a toll.
All right. Did you have the question for Raider?
I wanted him to touch on the TDIU, because we get a lot of people when it comes to the TDIU, and can I work for Uber? Can I deliver groceries over here?
Mm-hmm.
And then they make too much money, and then it's a problem, because we know Natural and I talk about it all the time. Let them hear from Raider where how his perspective comes into this.
Okay, so first thing I'm going to say is that this is a hot button topic. Like, people get very, very upset whenever you have any kind of opinion on TDIU. And it stems from fear. And I get that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of individuals who this is a form of an ancillary benefit. Mm-hmm. TDIU is not a disability. So it does not share the same protections like the 10-year, the 20-year rule as a disability does. Because it's not a disability. It's a benefit that's awarded if you continue to meet criteria year after year after year. The moment that you make more money than the poverty level for a single person, that's whenever you run into a problem. Propose to reduce? Yeah. Will you get a hearing? Sure. Will they still take the action because mathematically you made more money than you should have? Yes.
Yeah.
Is the hearing ceremonial in nature? Yes, unless you can prove that, hey, look, I didn't make that money. I don't know what's going on. Like I didn't work a day last year at all. Like those things happen, right? So whenever it comes to like TDIU, my philosophy, and this might rub some people the wrong way, but you have medically certified that you cannot work.
I agree.
Have medically certified that. Okay. It's not a choice at this point in time. You medically cannot work. Now, if you want to try to work for your sanity, I get that. I get that 110%. I'm a person that's stuck in my house. So I'm working right now just to keep myself from being, not bored. But, you have to be, if you want to work, you've got to be able to be an honest participant in this process. If you can work more than the amount, should you maybe try to get to a natural 100%? Maybe, if that's on the cards, right? I would much rather, have you do that than, because you can work. If you become a natural 100%, go ahead.
You mean just a scheduler 100% Raider, like where those are your conditions, instead of trying to pursue TDIU?
Or if you're on TDIU, you can still pursue claims after being on TDIU to transition over to the higher benefit is what I would consider it, because you can work and get the 100%. That can happen, like that can totally happen. I get the fear behind TDIU. I mean, the current climate does not appear to favor TDIU.
No,
and that's as far as I'll go on that. But for me, it's that you've medically been certified that your disabilities prevent you from working your previous job. That's That's the classification. Now, can you do part-time work in a job that's completely different than your other job? Sure.
Yeah.
But once you show that you meet criteria and you go over the monetary value, the poverty level for a single person, it's hard to get it back. I'll be honest with you. You don't want to put yourself in that position because trying to get it proven again, you have so much evidence at that point in time weighing against you that you're fine.
Yeah.
I believe that. That's not my personal belief, but that's the way the VA looks at it is
Sure.
if you make over the poverty level, you are fine. And that's a horrible place to be in.
Yeah. I don't know those that would quibble with what you're saying. I think it's consistent with how the M21-1 and even some places in the 38 CFR define unemployability, because it's a pretty it's a pretty high bar to get TDIU in a lot of cases, and I don't think veterans understand some of the statements that you just rendered with regard to unemployability. It really, when you really think about it, this whole process, this compensation process, was kind of designed based off of workability. If the veteran was really able to work, or they are not able to work post service. So I think it's really important to understand some of those nuances.
All right. Thank you. I think Mr. Davis has stepped away for a minute, but I want to share a scenario because a veteran challenged me on this and I didn't think he had a case. So I want to get Naturals and Raiders choice feedback on this real quick while Mr. Davis comes back. Had a veteran, he contacted me. He said, "Hey, Dwayne, VA is proposing to sever individual unemployability." I'm like, "Well, did you go back to work?" He was like, "Yeah, I went back to work, not once, but twice, and made over the poverty threshold." Now, he said he reached out to a law firm, and they told him, "Oh, you got a case." I'm just like, man, based on what he told me, I was like, I don't see it, because he was like, "Oh, I've had individual unemployability for 20 years. And the VA sent me the proposal to reduce like November, 30 days before he hit this 20-year protection rule." And he said they shouldn't be able to do it because they didn't schedule the hearing until this past June. And so now I'm thinking, what does 20 years have to do with that and them scheduling the hearing in June and not in December? So he was thinking, oh, well, I'm protected by the 20-year rule because they should have scheduled that that RVSR hearing in December and not June. And that's all he gave me, but he was just really stuck on that. And I didn't see a path. I was like, you got caught with your hand in the cookie jar. Why even go back to work based on just what you just said, Raider? What do you say about that, Natural and Raider? And that's all the information that he gave me, so I know it's kind of slim.
Okay, well, I mean, for me, it's not a disability. So the 10-year rule, the 20-year rule, the 5-year rule, those are for disabilities, like factual, actual disabilities. There is no diagnostic code for TDIU, right? It's not a disability. It doesn't share those protections. And I see what Jim put in there, that it shall not be discontinued without determination that the veteran has actually secured and maintained gainful employment. Yeah, and that's a math problem. Did you make more than this monetary amount within a calendar year? That's it.
And he did.
And he did. Yeah. And what happens is that I want to say the SSA, Social Security Administration, generates the end product. Like, we don't, like, VA raters don't just go, "Hey, let's assess this claim." That comes from down high. Like, it is something that comes through. Now, does the veteran get a hearing in which they get to discuss? Sure.
Yeah.
But if the math is there, it's like, hey, look, in that situation, you are guilty until you are proven innocent. And I hate that. It's not my personal belief system. It's just the facts. An end product is here because you broke something. Prove you didn't. And it sucks. And if people follow the guidelines, make sure that you don't make over a certain amount, then you have nothing to fear. Right. If you're somebody that hasn't worked a day in your life after that, then you're fine. And
he was like, "Oh, well, they should have taken consideration." I tried to at least go back. I say, but at the time, back in like, I think early 2000, you said you couldn't. So as a Raider, that's what, we agreed, you were granted that. they're not looking at what you tried to do 10 or 15 years later, you know, if that makes sense. But like I said, I just couldn't see a path forward. I was just only giving the information that was given to me. And I was just like, if you get, why go back? If they granted IU, why go back? Why not pursue, like you said, Raider, to get that 100% permanent total, and then it's moot at that point. But I just thought I'd bring that up before we bring our next guest on. He is in the waiting room, is ready. Are we ready to move forward?
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything else?
Yeah, I think we're ready
for the next segment. Yeah.
Okay. I got it. All right. Jim, you say you got cut off. Oh, wait a minute, I got cut off.
12 consecutive months. I think he was responding
to his previous. Okay. All right. Okay, cool.
Over 12 consecutive months. Yeah.
We're gonna bring in our next guest here. And we have Mr. Davis. Mr. Davis, thank you. And welcome for joining us today. Can you hear us just fine, Mr. Davis?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Sounds good. So go ahead and tell everybody who you are, what you do, and why you do it.
No, fantastic. Hello, everyone. My name is Kenneth Davis, CEO of Veterans for Veterans, Veteran Advocacy Group, where we serve our veterans in obviously VA benefits, entrepreneurship, and also real estate. So we're able to kind of try to cover a wide range of information for our veterans, and just make sure that we're advocating to the top of the hopefully the hill, so we can get policies passed.
Okay, and I believe you wanted to serve in the Army, but you served in a different branch, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, well, I just didn't meet the qualifications, so I went to the Navy's door. They graciously accepted me.
Wait, be careful, Mr. Davis. Be very, very careful.
We got nothing like that.
Yes. I was in the Navy, during Operation Iraqi Freedom. During Freedom, there were multiple deployments on the USS Ronald Reagan, and had the pleasure to just serve with those brothers and sisters in arms, and it was a great time. And during that time, I was able to meet so many great people, but at the end of the day, was able to really join the veteran community once exiting.
Okay, Ms. Davis, can you tell everyone what you used to do for the Department of Veterans Affairs?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was a VA raider, working my way up all the way from obviously a claims assistant all the way to DSR, so on and so forth. So I worked my way through the ranks, being able to serve at the Washington, D.C. Appeals Management Office over time. Was able to travel to multiple different locations, whether it's San Diego, Milwaukee, Washington, D.C., and in Las Vegas, Nevada, where I had the pleasure to work for the Department of Veterans Affairs for many years.
All right. So I'll turn it over to Tasha to go ahead and let's get some Q&A going. If you need me to pull any questions.
How are you?
From the chat.
I have created the most complex questions for you here today. So
no pressure, Mr.
No
Davis.
pressure.
Well, excited to answer. Excited.
So you have some camaraderies here with you. Natural is a Raider. Raider HQ is the next Raider, and Dwayne. So you really are surrounded with
You're in good company.
a lot to help you with these questions. So I'm a veteran, as you know, and I'm an advocate for women. So let's get into the VA claims process. Do you feel like it is too complex right now for veterans to navigate alone? If it before compared to before and now, do you think it has become more complex for veterans to navigate alone? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'll say this. I think the VA has made many strides to try to simplify the process, giving access to certain things that did not have access before. VA.gov has come a long way versus e-benefits, right? E-benefits, that was it was a mission to be able to get to what you needed to.
Yeah.
But however, I will say the complexity of regulation, whether if it's in the Warrants Manual, M21, or the CFR, it's just a difficult process to understand. I think even behind that, understanding how policy works to be able to route through the process of getting a bill passed to be able to apply to VA benefits, right? I think there's a lot of hot take buttons that people press, and then those regulations or understandings then put veterans at an uproar. And then when that happens, it creates emotional turmoil, and then next thing you know, the VA is repealing some information that they shouldn't put out anyway, right? So I do think that that the system has become a little bit more simplistic in regards to access, but not processes and systems, right? So that has been the challenge, I believe.
So with that, do you feel like the claims industry has become better or worse in the last 10 years based on when you rated compared to what you see now?
I think Mr. Kimball probably put you up to these questions, huh?
He did not. He did
Listen,
not.
we can neither confirm nor deny. Listen,
He did not.
Mr. Davis, what we need to do now is just use our Navy intelligence, okay? Like, use our Navy intelligence to get through this, like we always do.
Well, I would say this. You know, I think it's fabulous that the veterans are getting the help that they deserve, right? And get access to the benefits that they earn. However, I do believe that the industry has become oversaturated with some who may or may not know what is necessary and what they are doing. And it's so important that we really focus on the actual expertise of it, right? It is a challenge to become a rater. It's a challenge to serve veterans, and it's an honor to be able to do so. So when you take the route of not serving a veteran correctly, the industry just becomes overly saturated with those who should have provided themselves the information to serve. However, it's such a delicate honor to do so that I think we have taken away that portion of it, of understanding that we're serving a community who's underserved and a voice of voiceless.
Tasha, I have a sort of a sub question to that one, and I really want all the raters to chime in on this one. Radio HQ, Natural, and Dwayne, and Mr. Davis. Mr. Davis, the responsibility, what do you think the responsibility is for the rater to educate the veteran in their correspondence back to them? Here's what I'm saying. You know, we've heard rater and Natural say, and Dwayne, and I'm sure you as well, you guys are very detailed in your responses to veterans. You give them, you know, what they need to do if they want higher percentages. In your narrative that you write, it's pretty much a detailed long form narrative. But what do you think the responsibility is of the VA to make sure that raters educate veterans along the process, and letting them know, hey, listen, like, we are on your side to get to where you need to go if you have a qualifying disability? Should that be a higher level responsibility on raters, or do you think that that's something that the veterans should shoulder much more?
Great question. Because, you know, being on both sides, right? You understand the rater, and then you also understand the recipient. Veteran, there is a host of information that you have to go through, and I can tell you, it's overwhelming. It is just you can't even understand it. The lingo is just out of control, right? Let's pull back the veil and really understand what they're saying. But now, also, I think the VA misses that majority of their organization are ran by veterans. So now we have to understand that they're veterans as well. So if you're a Department of Veterans Affairs, there's a certain tact that you must have to be able to treat the veteran and also treat the veteran who is serving the other veteran. So being on the production standard the way they do, it could become overwhelming, and they may be able to miss detailed information that they could provide to the veteran, so they can really understand that navigational pathway. However, I just really would be remiss to say, you know, and put all the responsibility hosted on the VA or in the rater, because it is just the information, though complex, that information could be information that could change your life. So there is a responsibility to go ahead and try to figure that out. And if you're not, that's why we're here, right? Advocates can be able to service you.
Sure. That you brought up an interesting thought about the production standard that raters have I don't know, Raider, Natural, Dwayne, does having that production standard does it put more pressure on you to kind of get stuff done quicker? I would just like to know y'all's perspective on that.
We haven't heard from Natural in a minute. Natural, you want to take a shot at that? If you're done with
Hey,
your
I
story.
don't. I'm letting I'm letting everybody else get their say and just listening.
Okay.
I would agree with Mr. Davis. I think that across the board that as a raider, I think that everyone, should I say this? Listen, I think that a lot of raiders do the same, but I think a lot of them do not. If that makes sense without me saying everything. Even though we're held by the same manual, the same guidance, everybody doesn't follow what they should. And I think that it comes from a lack of the education on the processes of rating, and it comes down to your interpretation of the manual. Because I have a lot of disagreements with co-workers, and I finally tell them like, hey, well, you're the decision maker. You have to make that decision. I can't make the decision for you. But if I'm telling you what I see and I'm telling you what manual backs up manual reference back up what I see, then you're the decision maker. But when you make that error, don't come back to me and try to help you fight the error. So I think that it is just across the board. I think there needs to be more outreaches to educate the veterans. And I think that we do have annual training, but do I agree with the annual training all the time? No, because the processes, what I don't like is when a law changes, the manual gets updated and we take a TMS course. Come on. And then we're applying rules and laws when we haven't been like educated on how to apply this law. We may get an email that says, hey, this has been updated. You know what I mean? And now you expect us to apply this to the claim process and understand it. And I think that's where it's a lot. Everybody is focusing on bringing down the backlog and bringing down, and keeping claims under 125 days and all this stuff. My thought process is if you educate the workforce that you have processing these claims correctly, that will cut down on a lot of these supplementals and DTA errors and BVA decisions. If you start at the lowest level of educating from the claims assistant, VSR to the RVSR, even droves make mistakes. And so that's just my thought process of me being here for a while. And there's a disconnect because some ROs do stuff, and then other ROs do, and I'll be like, what's the difference? We're all under the same umbrella. We all have the same manual, but it's like there's a disconnect somewhere, and the consistency across the board is not there. And I think that's why we have ongoing repeat cases. Some of it is the VBA, and some of it is the lack of knowledge on the veteran side. People think, oh, I got diagnosed at the VA hospital, it's service connected to the military, and that's not always true. And so I think veterans have to understand that when we go to the VA, if they give me a diagnosis of diabetes, and I know I've been sitting at this table eating up all this stuff and doing all this, and I'm obese, that has nothing to do with me. Now I have sleep apnea, or I have, back problems because my BMI is now 38 point whatever. That has nothing to do with me being in the service. But a lot of people think, oh, I'm at the VA and they diagnosed me with this, it's service related. And that's just not true. So I think if we start educating everybody, and it's not pointing the fingers at anyone, it's just my personal opinion, because I'm a veteran myself and I'm also a raider. So I understand from both sides, but as a veteran, I had no idea about the benefit side when I got out of the military. Until I started working for the VA, I learned about the VBA. And then I got the job at the VBA and I understand the claim process now. But a lot of people do not. So that's just my take on it.
Sorry, may I really quick to add a little bit of context?
Please do, sir.
I cannot agree more. It is the consistency and continuity of the training and development program for Raiders, for BSR, just going through the pathway, right, is so very inconsistent and also difficult. So when the context I want to add is this: I traveled to many regional offices, went through training on different sides. Every regional office had the same standard on paper, but the different expectation when executed. There was many times I've seen good raiders actually transfer, retire, or get fired because of the inconsistency of the training and also the interpretation of the law. The regulation is the regulation. However, when the claim comes in, however, it is not that clear, cut, and dry. And a lot of times there's no grace or leniency on the difficulty of the nature of application to regulations. So
excuse me, real quick, Mr. Davis.
Because as she said, many people aren't going to take a TMS.
Excuse me, real quick, Mr. Davis.
Oh, yeah.
If you have two separate laptops, it seems like we're getting some feedback. So if you're looking at two different screens open, I think we're getting a little bit of feedback. If you can cut the volume down.
Gotcha.
On the second one.
Understood.
I think you were discussing the knowledge gap with regard to raiders and some of the consequences that come from that. Some raiders getting fired or not making certain decisions. Go on, Mr. Davis.
Yes. The primary context I was just trying to hit home is, understandably, there's so many laws and regulation changes that raiders can't even keep up. So what do you think the veteran is doing? And unfortunately, the application, it is not a fluid process, and I can understand the difficulty and nature of it. However, we just have to find something a little bit better that is that's useful for both. And that's why being on both sides of it, I do feel for the raiders, right? I think the position and occupation is a great occupation. It's such a technical skill. You have to be very skilled to be a raider, at least a good raider, right? Every raider is not equal. But I'll tell you this, those courses that you take in TMS, most people are just clicking through them. I can attest to that. And it is not until you get an error until it's a wake-up call.
Oh, yeah.
So if we can just fix the training program, processes, expectations, and fluidly give feedback on any type of error or in application to a very grayish area law or regulation, that will be very much helpful for the raider and also the veteran.
I want to hear Raider's opinion on the training for Raiders.
I was just thinking the same thing.
I want to hear him on this. Yeah, go ahead, Raider.
Hi, how's it going? Nice to meet you, Mr. Davis. I've never met you before, but
Likewise.
If you want to show him, let him hear your, feel free. You don't have to, but
Oh wait,
what are you talking about? It's too easy. Why are you making me do this? I'm not some kind of monkey that you can make perform. What, I hate this. No, sorry. All right. So the training. I would say that before COVID-19 happened and they shut down like Denver and they shut down Baltimore for the training sites, physical training made the difference between what you've seen beforehand, which might not have been the best in the world, but it is light years better than what it is now. The training, they shortened the training after COVID hit. I don't even know if they've restarted in-person training, but there was a specific facet to it. You lived, breathed, and ate it. You were away from your family. You were put in a hotel for weeks at a time. Wow. You were given a food stipend. You were not like, you were isolated like it was boot camp, basic training, whatever you want to call it. You know, like you were isolated, and that's all you did from sunup to sundown. They bust you to the agency. You went to the RO that was hosting it. They had training individuals. They had actual people in the know. They had raiders that they flew in, and they had them there to help you. And you were able to ask questions in real time, right? That training was the foundation. Wow. But part of the problem is that level of diligence on the training evaporates once you get back to your RO. And honestly, like if I could wave a magic wand, there's a couple of things that I would do. Reinstate the training back to physical training. Make it to where the way that you train the staff originally, in-person training, that's how the training gets continued. A all hands meeting where somebody just goes, oh yeah, we got this new law here and it's really great. And just, do this TMS that's outdated, that doesn't even talk about anything that's currently relevant, you know, because they contract out for TMS courses. So sometimes they have to refurbish them and do different things. And I'm not trying to stick it to the VA or anything like that. They're doing their best. But if they could up their training, that would be great. But one of the fundamental problems, in my opinion, is that for there to be a problem, everyone has to agree that there is a problem. Leadership is so disconnected from the process, even at the coach level. I mean, I'm just talking at the coach level. You've got somebody that doesn't understand even an ounce of what you're doing. They have no way, shape, or form. Understand
you get past the collection plate on that one.
Yeah.
You getting hyped. You got hyped.
So when this stuff goes up that, like when you submit your complaint and it goes up the chain of command, guess what? They don't know what you're talking about.
Not
that's how you can. Yeah, that's how you can have congressional meetings in which somebody spews some stuff you're like, what? The VA, the VBA, right? You're talking about claims process in the VBA, not in Switzerland, in America's VBA, right? Like that's how you can have those disconnects because leadership does not think there's a problem. They think numbers. Oh, we've got 10 less claims than we did beforehand. Everything is fine. This is fine. And the empathy has left the building. If I could wave another magic wand, retrain staff that there's a human being on the other side of every single claim. That there is a human being that resides, that waits for that outcome. That whether or not you do a good job or a bad job, that lives are on the line. You might not think it. You might downplay it.
It's so true.
Oh man, it's just 10%. But this, like every single proposal to reduce, you better be sure there's a human being on the other side of that. There's emotions, there's feelings, there's families, there's everything.
Yeah. I preach it every week. Yeah.
No, I just channeled my Hervet's voice right there.
You sure did. You channeled your inner HPV.
I'm on Douglas Collins, like white on rice. And I know that somewhere along the line, somebody's going to say, there's this girl on YouTube, Dougie. She is on.
Do you owe her money? What's going on
your neck?
Now, Raider, we thought for a second that someone would reach out to Doug Collins so he could join us on our live stream today, but we haven't got word back from the secretary's office.
He's not going to come here. You know why he's not going to come here? Because we are too real for him. He wants people to coddle him.
Not all of our cameras are on.
Yeah,
The man will run at any camera, but all of our cameras aren't on. So unfortunately, we don't have the power, the bandwidth to pull him into our sphere.
Yeah.
So that's
By the way, everyone, before we move on, Raider, actually, I don't know how much he does it anymore, but he used to have a segment. Doug Collins fixed this, just a little quick
That ain't
segment.
happening. Don't bother. Ain't happening.
You can learn a lot from just those little tidbit segments, those rants that he has. But Tasha, I want you to continue with your questions with Mr. Davis, because he's giving us some great information.
He's touring right now. Okay, you have to open up a Steak and Shake franchise and get a little discount. You know, don't crack my motor right now, Craig. And Mr. Davis, if you don't know, I'm on Dougie's neck. Okay.
I think you read the same article, so it tickled me as well.
You know, real quick before you get in that next question, I'm gonna take it a step a little bit further. I promise I'll be quick.
Okay.
I'll be very quick. This is gonna make some veterans upset to hear. So we talked about, I don't want to say placing the blame or what the VA could do better. Also, we have to think about what veterans can do better. And one thing that I always preach is education. You have to invest the time to understanding this. And Natural stated earlier, stop running to the VA and get the diagnosis. That falls under VHA.
She sure did.
Not VBA. And thinking you can go to VBA and stop thinking just because I wore this uniform, you're entitled to something. No, there is a process. So I would say to veterans, there is some accountability on the veterans side, because there's more channels out there that, some that, just probably a little bit of propaganda, just giving misinformation. But the majority of these channels out here are giving you the basics. Start with the basics, different ways different ways of service connection. Start there, but invest the time. And second, on the VA side, I think there's more accountability there. When I rated, I volunteered to work at an FDC clinic, fully developed claim clinic. And guess what? Veterans could actually come in and talk to me. They could bring their 526EZ, their DBQ for increase, their DBQ and nexus statement if it was for secondary. I can look at it. Yes, it's good to go. Establish an EP or take it back to the regional office, have a VSR to establish an EP, because I couldn't do it because I never was a VSR. And I could rate that claim before I went home for the day. Guess what the St. Petersburg regional office did? They closed the office. Okay. And what I like what the VA is doing, is having these clinics. And veterans, if you got a clinic that's within an hour of a Veterans Fest, within an hour of your home, you have a car, you have the funds to drive there, you might want to show up.
Yeah, these are Dwayne's talking about VA claim clinics. We'll have a link in the description of our channels of the next VA claim clinics and the dates and times and locations, so that you can go to one near you. They're very helpful, extremely helpful. And when if you feel like you might be stuck in your VA claim and you want an in-person individual other than one of us, you want an in-person individual, you can definitely stop by VA claim clinic and they will do you well.
And real quick, I promise, Craig, I'll be done after. I promise. What Raider said, you all see this? This is a VA rating schedule. When I went through training, when I hired in month of June, I did not touch an actual rating till the end of October.
Wow.
In between that time, we went to Baltimore. And they were going through this in Baltimore and back at our home station. And when you go through the rating schedule, they went line by line by line. So if you go to neurological and you look at diagnostic code 8045, they went line by line through all the facets. So like Raider said, they got to get back to that. If they don't get back to that, they just sit here and because this was training that well before COVID and before I left, and if they don't go back to that and they just using TMS to do this training, then there's no way that backlog has reduced that Mr. Collins talked about. Because how are you doing that when you don't have your people trained up to that certain level where they can adjudicate these claims? I yield my time.
He has yielded his time to you, Mr. Davis.
I see. No,
a gentleman from Florida has yielded his time.
Madam Chairman, I reclaim my time. I reclaim my time. I'm just kidding. Go
ahead. There's so much to discuss here, but I have a question that I wanted to ask you, Mr. Davis. What is one piece of advice that you strongly disagree with when it comes to veterans and what they commonly hear online? What is one piece of advice that you have seen commonly online given to veterans that you know for a fact that you strongly disagree against?
The notion of keep filing and you're gonna get it.
Oh my God, you hit the nail on the head.
Wow. Spaghetti at the wall, Mr. Davis.
If we can go away with anything, we can. It's just I want to always step in to serve, but it is so hard to pull that veteran away from that scuttlebutt talk that goes on in that rumor mill. We have, I mean, Mr. Dwayne Kimball giving straight knowledge out to M21 every day. And for some reason, they still rather go speak with that E5 who barely got their benefits, that unfortunately is spewing information that, hey, you know what? You can get 100% on the right knee. And it's just, it runs rampant. It just runs rampant, and if we can be able to shrink that line of communication and tell the truth, that's going to be tremendous. And why I say that is because just like you guys, the sentiments that you guys expressed, there's already enough bad information floating around here. I hop on YouTube, I hop on these Reddit posts, I hop on the social media, and I am shocked at some of the information that is being spewed.
They make
but everyone is believing
it. They make Ray to cuss so bad.
yeah. And I think definitely the ones who went through that rigorous training, Radar HQ, it was such a rigorous process. You literally was back in boot camp. You literally were back in college. I mean, they shut the world off and say, hey, this is all you're going to do here for months and months and months. But then you get back to the regional office. I had a phenomenal leader during that time frame where you didn't even touch the floor until 6 months without a second sign. At least. Because most Raiders don't even know what they're doing until you're 2-3 years in the process. And now you want them to pop open a TMS to be able to understand this new update in relation to DIC. I've never even seen a DIC claim. Only thing I've done was rate back, So, but that's one of the biggest things I think that will be a wide kind of spread a thing that we can go away with. I really just disagree with it.
Reddy, you wanna answer?
you want to go on one of your members only rants?
I want to get you fired up today.
No, you don't.
I
get noise complaints from my neighbors. They're like, what are you doing?
You strongly disagree with in the veteran community online.
I gotta watch how I say this. So, to be honest with you, it just has to come down to the chess versus checkers. VBA process is the VBA process. The Board of Veterans Appeals is the Board of Veterans Appeals. You might not agree with how the VBA process works, but your feelings stop at the tip of your nose. Wow. You cannot influence anything beyond your feelings. Sometimes you have to adapt to a bad process.
Woo!
When I provide individuals with education, I'm doing so based upon the current trends that I'm seeing. It doesn't mean I endorse them. I don't. I really wish that the system would change. But do you wish to have a favorable outcome? Then sometimes you have to play by the rules.
Right.
And you might not agree with them. And that's the only thing that I say, because the rules change on a daily basis. And if you don't adapt to them, if you retain that rigidity, you will break. They will break you. The VA does it quite well. It will force you to try to quit. And I mean, I don't want to say that that's by intention, but there's a lot of missed opportunities by the VA to, number one, train veterans on how to file their claims.
Yeah.
Train staff on how to do the right thing each and every time. That same diligence that Mr. Davis was talking about with with going to challenge and learning this, there was a diligence there, wasn't there? There was a seriousness about it. And then it seems to evaporate when it's time to start pushing them their numbers, you know, and I get really sick of that personally.
Well,
I don't want people to be a number. I want them to be honored, cherished. They're a veteran. I take this seriously.
So, Natural and Raider, I've been the CO for Central Training. So after COVID, they don't do that anymore. They just leave it up to the regional office to train the VSRs in Raiders now. There's no, do they even lease? Because I know when I went through it, you could only go to Baltimore. And right when I left, I think the last 2 years, they were sending people to Denver and or Baltimore. So they don't bring in those what they call them, master trainers or trainers to the local office and do that same training they do at CO. They just cut all that out.
It's digital.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it was back in my time. Yeah. I don't know if they've changed it since.
At my RO, they do training, but they use the QRs.
Yeah. So QRT, who, you know, I question whether or not they can read at any given time. Okay, I'm not playing. Like I don't know how they feed themselves.
You've got some QRT rants on your channel too, Raider.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep it in check. I literally am. But what happens is they shortened the amount of time that VSRs had challenge. It used to be like 6 weeks or something like that. They reduced it down to 4. Less time in the training doesn't make a better person. Online training doesn't necessarily get you can't. Who are you asking your questions to? It's a one-way transmission a lot of the time. It's not a two-way communication. There's no growth. There's no education. And then you have an echo chamber of the same people that have bad habits within your RO. Guess what? You get to learn that. They're not official trainers.
Yeah.
QRT are not official trainers. Like the people that they bring into Baltimore and to Denver, they are formal trainers. They're not raiders. They're people that train on the material. Then they have subject matter experts that go there and they kind of go, okay, this is how you apply what he just said. So you'd have raiders and VSRs and all that stuff. But no, this is where, if you look at this, we're going really fast with the claims with the least amount of knowledge that we've had since before 2019. And that's a little concerning to me.
Yeah.
Wow.
And to add to that just a bit, you know, I again, seeing this article when they say the backlog has been reduced since, you know, at the lowest point since 2020, I really, really, really would love to see what the decisions look like in accordance to that.
You better cue the music. Because that has been I've been beating the dead parts for the last 2 days.
Yeah.
Well, you know how they did it? They used that VSR up in Philly. That's how they do it.
Yeah.
They created a special
Rubber
project. They created a
Yeah.
special project, and they had that VSR to lead it. And then they said, "Hey,
Wow.
we reduced the backlog."
Wow.
And then on top of that,
But
mandatory
I don't have no
overtime.
proof of that, so.
to now you apply mandatory overtime to it, you know, and when you talk about a Raiders position is a decision maker. There becomes fatigue in great decisions.
Yes.
So if you're a great decision maker, which most people with the lack of information are not. So now you add fatigue to that, you add pressure, you add stress, and you add the lack of empathy, what do you expect the outcome to be?
Yeah.
You know?
Wow.
Yeah, Mr. Davis, I was explaining to Hervet's Voice sometime last week that on USA Jobs, for the first time, I saw an opening for a DRO, for a VSR, and for a RVSR, and I've never seen all of three of
DRO?
those openings at the same time.
Bro,
Yeah. Normally they
Yes.
do
A
that
DRO,
internally.
that's an
I was so
in-house,
shocked.
open and close.
internal. Yeah.
you never
But-
see them posted on USA Jobs. It was
I've
very
never seen
shocking.
posting for a
Yeah.
DRO
Yeah.
there.
But
And
people
I think that lends to the idea of what you guys are talking about. Like some of the internal training processes could really improve with respect to kind of from an internal perspective, making sure that good training, the training like what you Raiders received, or even the OJT, and so the mentoring and guiding and making sure people understand the process and some of the ins and outs, and even some of the unspoken rules that's in the Raider community. That seems to have kind of gone out the window. And then you add, like you said, fatigue, exhaustion from so many cases in the queue. A lot of people are just saying, you know what, it's time for me to punch my ticket. And we're losing that experience. We're losing the knowledge. We're losing the wisdom, and veterans are actually paying the price for that when it comes to having their claims rated appropriately, or as I say on my channel, in a current, accurate, and complete way. Whereas, there's a lot of veterans who do, purport their evidence and so on and so forth. And we just try to tell them, Tasha and I just try to tell them to be patient with the process, because you're not gonna, you may not get the same official every single time, right? Like, so you just got to wait until someone sees, oh, this is actually legitimate. They've gone through the review processes. They actually know what their conditions are, and they know what they're trying to claim, and they've done their research. So let's make sure we give them a fair shake.
And a lot of you probably didn't catch it. Raider put something in the chat early on, and he had let me know Natural and Raider, Mr. Davis, so I get these right. AVSCM's Assistant Veteran Service Center Manager.
Correct.
And Veteran Service Center Manager.
Veteran Service Center Manager.
Wow.
So pushing quantity over quality.
Yeah.
They would do that. And I talked about this, and let me know, Mr. Davis, Raider, and Natural, if you all ever had this. And I'm open where I worked at, and I know some of you can't, say it. I understand. But I worked out of St. Petersburg regional office. And a lot of times the coach would say, hey, the front office wants this rating. I'm like, hey, I can make a decision, but it's a denial, but we need this. So I'm not going to put my name on the dotted line until I have this. I get to work the next day. That claim is no longer in my queue, but I still, because I would keep a spreadsheet of all the claims I worked on, right? And I would go in the VBMSR, put that social security number in, and they would always give it to another Raider, and that Raider was known for always either denying, lowballing a veteran, and ensuring that they had a routine future exam when they didn't have to. Have you all ever encountered that throughout your rating career? Minus the regional office that you worked at.
Yes.
Wow.
Because sometimes Raiders are asked to do, I don't want to say, I want to say questionable things. Like, hey, look, can you review this particular rating because of so-and-so? And I'm like, why? What's the mechanism that you're giving me this rating? Did they file an 0996 and 0995? What's the mechanism that I am legally allowed to touch this rating? They're like, no, it's just the VSO kind of contacted me, shot me an email. I'm like, so we're just making this up? They're like, no, we have a handshake agreement. I'm like, okay, but if I get audited, right? If OIG wants to know why I'm touching this claim, what do I tell them?
Wow.
So, and I'm, because this was during the period of time whenever there was a lot of that, Puerto Rico, assigning work to yourself type thing. And I don't know, but yeah, you had people that would just say yes, because I don't know if it was for personal gain, if it was to try to get a promotion. They want to be, we called them pets. Like certain coaches had pets, and people would just, like, they'd say yes to anything. They'd do anything, and they get in trouble for it. Like, it would come around. I held my ground. Integrity is a big deal for me, so I held my ground on that.
Mr. Davis or Natural, do you either of you encounter that?
Yeah. There's been multiple occasions where integrity had to be questioned, you know. And now at the end of the day, as going through this process, I had some phenomenal leaders that were able to present me and put me in a position of hosting integrity in everything I do, right? With the claims, because it does become and feel like a number, and it's a revolving door. However, I think I had the honor to really go into these hearings and speak with the veteran. And when you're able to do that, all the questionable things that you would add, that again others would ask, whether if it's coach, whether if it's assistant coach, or whether if it's getting your claim slipped out of your queue because you let them know that you probably wouldn't be able to finish it accurately and with a good rating, right? So now it was to the point where it had to be, you had to be around good people, and that was the really biggest point of it. It's those people around you that you surrounded yourself with really kept you on the straight and narrow, because you would compromise literally your judgment and what you know is right and what you know is wrong. So that moral compass had to fluctuate. There's been many times where I've actually dealt with, having to question a judge, and now when you're questioning a VA judge on if it's right or wrong, because when it goes to that level, BVA, you can do what you want, which many people don't know.
Wow.
Regulations can color outside the lines very easily and very fast when you have the stroke of a pen and have the title of a judge, right? So there's been many occasions where you've been asked to do things that's on a remand that you know for sure it's against the regulation. It doesn't matter. The judge said do it, push it.
Wow.
So, I mean, when we talk about questionable things, I want to, push that all the way to the top and see if they're doing questionable things. And then when they're doing questionable things, let's see how it rolls downhill.
Wow. That is a lot. That is so much to take in. So
Very
much.
good.
Yeah, well said.
Good information though, for sure.
Whew.
All right. So we do have Mr. Tillman. I'm trying to look at the
Michael.
We have about, I know he was in the previous
He's
segment.
in the 2 o'clock he's in the 2 o'clock segment, so we're doing okay.
Okay. All right. Okay.
We got some time.
We got about
I had him in both. So okay. All right. We're fine. We're good.
So before we let you go, Mr. Davis, I heard you speak a little bit about being on the entrepreneur side. I feel like veterans need to be educated when it comes to being an entrepreneur. A lot of veterans, there are aspects of their life that they can evolve in, establishing businesses, etc. And I think veterans are bored, right? Because when you're bored, you bully online, you talk crazy, you act crazy, you send them emails, you do all those types of things. So let's talk about them making more useful of their time, right? So when you go in Ray's comments, or my comments, or Dwayne comments, or whatever, and you start going off the deep end, let's talk about them using their time a lot more valuable. Let's get to the entrepreneur side. What are some businesses that they can establish, or where they can get some education as far as going on that route before I let you go?
Oh, fantastic. Great question. Veterans, there are so many different places that you have the opportunity to actually get free education, free mentorship, free coaching and development. There's so many different resources out there. Going to a phenomenal conference like the Veterans Edge that's set up every single year by the Syracuse University in being able to get free resources having the option to be able to go to strict entrepreneurial courses within Harvard or in any online programs that can really serve the veteran. There are many programs that are out there that really can fill that gap. You know, going to the SBA. The SBA is a wealth of knowledge, and a lot of veterans can get help, but they don't know that these places want to help. They want to help. They want veterans. But unfortunately, I think this narrative has been created that they don't. And unfortunately, this is pushed down to the veteran. And now, because once we're told no once, we know what goes on there, right? We're probably never coming back.
Are you back?
But I'll tell you this.
No.
There are the platforms that I have been a part of, to include our platform of Prepare to Compete. There are so many different programs, entrepreneurship, lending, to be able to support business out here that is going to create vibing and supportive veterans through that entrepreneurship program. Okay. When we talk about, again, I spoke about Veterans Eds, but then you have Vet the CEO. That was a phenomenal informational program. And they're bringing on some of the top CEOs across the country to really provide you mentorship, education, and understanding, and also the coaching and development that's needed. You know, we have many resources that we can be able to provide. And again, I would love to go ahead and push it out to be able to support any veteran who's trying to get an entrepreneurship, depending on what you're trying to do. Because again, entrepreneurship, it's a lonely journey, right? It's a lonely journey. You don't need to do it on your own. You have brothers and sisters in arms who's been there, done that, and could really support you and pull you up, definitely if you're taking the right path. But when we talk about entrepreneurship, I think it's one of those ones where the veterans and also active duty military who are transitioning have every skill to be able to be a successful entrepreneur and business owner. Every single skill.
I'm sorry, Ms. Davis.
But it is unknown because you have to pull it out of you, because you don't know that if the skills that you learned in service are going to translate to the civilian sector. And many times initially they don't, right? Because you have not removed the cloudiness of what your skills are when you're getting out. What is that fuels person? You know, how are they going to understand and get clarity on their real hard skill sets? They don't. Yeah. So now you become a everyday worker or Uber driver or what have you. And again, no disrespect to Uber drivers. I love Uber drivers. But that becomes a primary job that you cannot work your way out of, because you don't have clarity on how educated you are, how skilled you are, and the things that you really can do. But we have so many resources on our site, but also beyond on our site. Again, the Prepare to Compete channel that we provide our veterans in regards to resources for entrepreneurship, because veterans, you guys are entrepreneurs. I don't know if you know it, but you are.
Mr. Davis, that's a really good segue. And Tasha, I don't know if you were going this way, but I want you to tell everybody where they can reach you here in just a moment. Yeah. But before I do that, I saw something in the comments. I want to show some love to the Air Force on September 18th. They will be having their 79th birthday. So the Air Force, we want to show some love to you guys. Air Force Bubba's in the chat. I know we do a lot of Army, Navy, Marine Corps talk around here, but I want to show some love to the Air Force and to the Coast Guard as well.
Craig, we are going to show some love also to our Air Force sisters in the chat.
Yeah, we will show our Air Force sisters as well, right? To our Coast Guardsmen and Coast Guardswomen as well. Yes. We want to show love to all of our service members. Thank you for your service. We really appreciate you. It is all friendly banter, but we all know who the best services are. So, we don't have to take that. We can take that into consideration. We can have this friendly banter. Mr. Davis, why don't you tell everybody where they can reach you? They will be in the post-production video description of these lives as well, but go ahead and tell everybody where they can reach you and how they can find out more about entrepreneurship and all of the things that you can do.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. So you definitely can reach us at, again, info@vetsforvetsconsulting.com and be able to support you. You can also see us on our website, vetsforvetsconsulting.com as well. But now also you can be able to watch and be able to enjoy all the information in relation to VA benefits, real estate, and entrepreneurship on our channel at Prepare to Compete. That is, again, our primary source of education, where you can really get all the garnishment of information to include accessing our community. Because, again, we want to support not only publicly, but also privately, because that private conversation is much more than you're going to get here publicly, because we want to support and we want to advocate. So, again, if you guys can be able to reach out, we would love to be able to support you. But before we close out, go Navy.
Hey, go Navy. Beat Army.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Tasha and Craig, do y'all mind if Mr. Davis sticks around? I know we're going to get into the live Q&A. If you have time,
as long as you like. Yeah.
If you have time, Mr. Davis, I know you're a very busy man, but you're more than welcome to stay on for a little bit if you like.
Oh, no, it's an honor, please.
Okay.
All right.
We know we got tell K1 I said hi. I know he's probably behind the scenes there doing some stuff. Yeah. All right, so let me know, Tasha. I'll turn it back over to you.
Let's go with Mr. Tallman, Michael. And he has a presentation, so I have to share my screen here.
Okay, hold on. While you're doing that, I'll add him. I think it's good to go. Okay, there he is.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Mr. Tallman.
How are you?
All right. Let me make sure. Okay.
Army's in the house.
Yeah.
Oh, man. See, another one.
That's what I'm talking about.
But you know, going back to what you were saying about the Coast Guard, my best friend growing up is a retired Coast Guard captain. So, you know, I am throwing shade at him all the time.
That's right. Yeah. Nothing but love to all the services.
Oh, yeah.
So before we pull up the your presentation there, Mr. How do you pronounce it? Tallman. Tall man. Tell us a little bit about yourself, what it is you do, and why you do it.
Retired Army colonel. I retired in 2015. I enlisted as military police back in 1982. And I transitioned to Medical Service Corps right around Desert Shield, Desert Storm. So back in 1990. I spent 25 years as a MS officer, finishing out my career as a patient admin officer. So I was dealing predominantly with medical records, HIPAA, anything that the clinicians didn't want to have to do, acting IG, which was a very good benefit for me. I spent 33 years in Army National Guard between the New York, Connecticut, and Massachusetts Guard. What else? Yeah, I think that surmises. The second slide in my presentation has all that in bullets. But the biggest thing when I was patient admin was when I was part of the community-based warrior transition unit program up here in Massachusetts as the PEBLO. I was a physical evaluation board liaison officer for 7 years. Then after I retired, I was an Army Wounded Warrior Program advocate for 3 years. And as part of that, one of the biggest things that I was doing was CRSC applications, so combat related special compensation. And I've been doing that for over a decade now. And it's become my passion. You know, we all need a passion to keep on going. I retired officially from everything last year because the first of the month is good.
That phrase, Mr. Tallman, retired from everything, just sounds so sweet to me. I don't know that I will experience it for a while. But
Well, considering what I'm doing on a daily basis, it's easily 3 to 4 hours a day
yeah,
doing CRSC related stuff.
excellent.
I have over 10,000 members in my Facebook group.
Wow.
I started it in 2022, May of 2022. So 4 years. It's got, after the first year or so, which was slow growth, it exploded.
Very good.
And we could go from there.
All right.
Awesome.
Are you ready for me to show the presentation, Tasha?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right. There it is.
So luckily for me, Army Human Resources Command, HRC, had put together this presentation. I've edited it a little bit, putting in my own stuff. This is the basic when it comes down to CRSC stuff. So in order for someone to successfully submit their claim, they don't have to get wrapped around the axles when it comes to doing CRSC. It is not as bad as people initially see it as. So it is definitely something that can be a bit overwhelming. But so the person needs to just take a step back. Yes, G. Smitty, I did say CRSC. So you can hit the next slide. I think I hit everything on there, and we'll get really right into the meat of this. A lot of this will be read it on your own kind of things. Because there is a ton of information here, and certainly once this is put out after post-production, you folks will be able to go slowly through it. I want to be able to answer questions more so than anything, but I'm going to hit the high points. To qualify for CRSC, you have to be entitled to and or receive a military retired pay. Now, that doesn't just mean a 20-year retiree. That includes your Chapter 61 disability retirees. That also includes your reservists that are at age eligible for retirement. So either 60 or earlier if eligible for early reserve retirement. You might not be seeing any retirement pay if you're Chapter 61 because most or all of their retirement pay is being offset by the VA. So that includes the reservist who may have been retired for under Chapter 61, who has a 20-year letter, and they will be able to still apply if they are a Chapter 61 retiree. Elephant in the house. I was Army Reserve National Guard for 33 years. I did my last 9.5 years on Title 10, and I was retired under Chapter 61. So I started with my retirement pay right at the time, but the VA offset a big old chunk of it. It is what it is, but the nice thing about CRSC, it can help the veteran get back some of that money. Rated at least 10% by the VA, and that could be anything. The key is to be able to make the causal relationship between the condition and a combat-related event. And how you prove that is once we get further into the you'll be able to see it. Waive your VA pay for your or waive your not the way this line here is actually backwards. You're going to waive your retired pay for your VA pay. So that's where the offset comes in.
Okay.
File your application. DD Form 2860, same across the board. That's why I help everyone. I might not know the nuances when it comes to the Air Force and Navy, which includes the USMC, or the Coast Guard and U.S. Public Health Service. All those folks are eligible to apply for CRSC. And then the disabilities must be either armed conflict, hazardous duty, instrumentality of war, simulated war. I know a few Vietnam veterans who have Agent Orange conditions, the cancers that are related with it, who are rated for CRSC. Obviously, Purple Heart. And then Gulf War presumptives, those are the things like PACT Act. And then finally, radiation exposure, if you're clank of a tank, where you're working with depleted uranium, then that is also going to give you something that you can apply for.
Excuse me, Mr. Tallman. If Dwayne, if you can go back to that one slide.
Sure.
Are you saying that? Okay, so it's supposed to be waive your retired pay.
Right. I didn't
pay, right?
waive your retired pay. So someone who is a 20-year retiree won't typically do that because CRDP will fall into place first.
Got it.
And it's automatic.
That's what I was thinking. CRDP when you said that. Okay, got it.
Yep. So and we'll get into that a little bit more, but I'll give you the nutshell. You still would have to file the waiver of retired pay for your VA compensation. It's not going to change anything if you don't opt to go with CRSC, but it has to be on file.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, that's all I wanted. Thank you, sir. You go ahead, Dwayne, with the next slide.
No worries. Armed conflict. You have to be engaged with the enemy. You have to go pew pew. You must be either affected by direct or indirect fire. All those things that come with, as we have over the last 25 years, going to the sandbox. Next. Simulating war, jumping out of perfectly good airframes, doing actual going to NTC or JRTC, naval exercises where you're doing, high op tempo kind of things where the individuals are, doing what they're supposed to be doing based on, the exercise that they are that they're going through. So you have to. The key here is the documentation needs to show that what you were doing when you were injured. Those are the two key things. It needs to be saying that you were doing X, Y, and Z when you got injured. And that's where one of the biggest sticking points that we have for veterans being able to get a successful claim in. The doc or the PA or the medic will just say service member presented because of back pain. That doesn't help the claim at all. And of course, it's long after the fact when this stuff happens where the individual, is now needing the information. Okay, it's great that it was documented. It helps for a VA claim, but it doesn't help. See, that's hazardous service. EOD, dive masters. Again, jumping out of perfectly good airplanes. Certainly a lot more than I ever did or was willing to do, although I almost jumped out of the plane at one point. Next, instrumentality of war. This takes up a larger scope of everything else. Who has the song of our people ringing in their ears 24/7. Just about all of us have tinnitus. Well, tinnitus is caused by an instrumentality of war. Burn pit exposure is an instrumentality of war. It is something that occurs because you are engaged in military operations somewhere forward deployed, and you're going to have to burn everything that you have on site. And that is, because of the fact that that is something that is done as part of your day-to-day routine, that is considered an instrumentality of war. Obviously, Purple Heart. You get shot, you get shrapnel, you get blast exposures from a VBIED. Those are going to be conditions that are it's an easy sell. You have a Purple Heart, getting CRC approved is a drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
So Gulf War illness presumptive. Now this is a little bit different than the such as PACT Act. However, it's Gulf War illness is stuff that occurs during the Desert Shield, Desert Storm, where a lot of veterans were complaining of a very a wide variety of illnesses that became encompassed under Gulf War illness. That also added over time your burn pit exposures under the PACT Act. So you would have to be in this general area to include, as it says, the waters of the Persian Gulf and around the Middle East in order to be eligible for this to be approved. The nice thing is that the documentation for this is the easiest. So any of your PACT Act, Gulf War presumptives, et cetera, all you have to do is A, show that you're rated for it, and B, show you were in the geographic region. And once you have that, then that is the easy, again, another easy one to get approved for CRSC. But it is, thank goodness the PACT Act got passed. And it got all of these burn pits, and there's a lot of things that people can apply for. In my Facebook group, in my file section, I have the whole list of the Gulf War, or I should say the VA presumptives. It's an automatic. You don't have to go digging when you were first diagnosed. Now, one exception. Unfortunately, the Air Force, and I'm going to have to bring some hate down on the Air Force. Sorry.
No problem with me there.
Yeah,
Mr. Tallman, proceed, sir.
So the Air Force, one of the things for under the PACT Act is that asthma has to be diagnosed after leaving service. Now, many veterans went from doing their day-to-day to going through the integrated disability evaluation system. Unfortunately, a lot of these veterans get diagnosed with asthma during this time frame. That means it was diagnosed during service, not after service. The Army will approve it 24/7. The Air Force will deny it if you were diagnosed as part of the IDES process, which is totally ridiculous. I mean, come on, let's use common sense here. How to fix that? I don't know. I really don't know. Somebody has to, get it through their thick skulls that this is something that will be diagnosed in a lot of cases during service. You know, but I could go into a rabbit hole on that. So that is one thing to be aware of, that if you have asthma, then you could entirely be denied for it by the Air Force. Army, like I said, they're spot on. They'll actually, a lot of cases you could put in your claim for the Army, and they will approve things that you did not even apply for, because they're going to look at your rating to see what you were rated for, and if you have any PACT Act related stuff, they're going to go ahead and approve it right off the back. Same for tinnitus, because tinnitus is not even within a Gulf War for something.
Mr. Tallman, quick question, and I don't know if you have a slide on this, but is what you're talking about as part of the IDES? Oh, wait, I don't want to just use acronyms. The Integrated Disability Evaluation System, like is that woven within there? Like all of the stuff that you know you're in the Army and you know you have certain boots on the ground type of experience, like. Is that within IDES? And I know IDES has to do with DoD disability too. I don't know if you have a slide on that either. But can you talk a little bit, like, is this some of these presumptive conditions, right? Would that be under the IDES program?
That would be when an individual gets, goes through the MEB process.
The med board process. Okay.
Yep. The med board process. And everyone still calls it the MEB, even though it's technically IDES. The going through the process, they're going to develop up a list of their conditions.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be some that do not meet retention standards and have to be forwarded to the physical evaluation board for determination if the person is fit or unfit for duty. So the VA is going to go through, they're going to do their comp and pens, get everything taken care of. Hopefully, sometimes you have examiners that couldn't, tell their ass from a hole in the ground. Unfortunately, that it does happen, but work closely with your physical evaluation board liaison officer. If the examiner is dismissive, if they are not, covering, the concerns that you have, medically for yourself, that needs to be brought up with your PEBLO. And hopefully you don't have a PEBLO that, couldn't tell their ass from a hole in the ground either, because they are unfortunately out there. So, yeah. It is, so there, in that particular case, if a 20-year retiree who does a benefits delivery discharge gets out and goes ahead and does their VA claim, all their ducks will be in a row, per se, when it comes to things like this, because
that's the question I was going to pose to the raters that we have on the panel. To prevent rework for the veteran, does natural rater is that sufficient to your med board stuff, your IDES stuff, all of the things that Mr. Thomas is talking about? Is that sufficient, or would you think that there would be other things that you might need as far as evidentiary support is concerned?
That's a form of pre-discharge claim. It's woven into the VA. It's a transitional program that's meant to hand off directly to the VA. So everything that's done, the problem that Mr. Tallman's talking about is the chronological order of things, because the exams are done while the veteran's still in service. That's where the hang-up happens. And that's why the presumptive conditions cannot be applied, which would kind of rule this in. So.
Got it. Perfect. Thank you.
And that goes along with conditions being rated as secondary. If a person goes through the IDES process it's all going to show up as being incurred. Whereas those going through either BDD or their claim after the service, they will have those conditions, whether it be incurred, secondary, tertiary, in some cases, or might be listed as presumptive. So some of the new conditions, this is, under precursor to the PACT Act, because this was in April of 2022. A lot of breathing related conditions that were cancerous. So they've been adding on these conditions. And again, this is the VA doing this, making it that these conditions are presumed service connected, which makes it easier to prove that the condition is combat related.
Want me to go through the back, or you want me to
So
keep
here-
writing, or go ahead?
Oh, what was that?
You want me to keep going?
Well, we'll just touch on these a little bit.
Okay.
So here's the big old list from the PACT Act. This is where people who have the chronic sinusitis, chronic rhinitis. Now, I have chronic rhinitis. However, I didn't deploy. So I was not in the sandbox at all. Therefore, I'm not eligible for CRSC or VA presumptive for the rhinitis. So it's just, again, that's how you make that connection that you were, eligible for presumptive condition for CRSC because of the fact that you were deployed into the sandbox.
Got it.
I think that's that slide, and we will certainly make sure it's available for veterans post production. But that slide is so valuable, Mr. Tallman, for veterans who are really trying to think through, even combat veterans who are trying to think through, man, like what are secondary service connections, like I think that's an obstacle that a lot of veterans face. Man, I don't exactly know secondary. You mentioned tertiary conditions as well. I think that would be that's a good starting point for veterans to kind of think through what their conditions are. So thank you.
Right. So what is not combat related? People say, well, I hurt my back while, playing some hoop. Well, unfortunately, while in, Iraq or Afghanistan, doesn't cut it. Now, if there was incoming rounds, that's a different story, because now you're talking armed conflict. So the second bullet here is crucial. Wear and tear over the course of a military career. Those airborne rangers that are, jumping out of perfectly good aircraft, that, my back, my knees, my hips, all hurt because it's this progressive, is not awarded CRSC. There has to be an injury associated with the condition. So keep that in mind. Just because you are doing something day after day after day, and it's going to be more intensive, especially, for the folks that are jumping out of planes or aviators. If you're flying a helicopter, and it's not really nice on one's body, and you don't have anything such as a hard landing to show that you had an injury to, a sprained back, it's not going to be awarded.
Gotcha. Wow. All right.
Wow.
So filling it out. I'm not trying to be condescending when I come, when I state it's easy to fill it out. The problem is that middle bullet there, 13 Juliet, is the one that people get wrapped around the axle with. Explain in your own words how you got injured and what you were doing at the time. Now, this does not automatically mean it's the actual instrument of the causal relationship. It is just a vehicle for showing the board member what you were doing. For example, while patrolling outside the fob, received incoming fire, reacted, was assigned a combat action badge or combat action ribbon for the Navy folks, or something such as, or if they got any award with the V appurtenance, which is for valor. That shows that you were engaged with the enemy one way or the other. So you could say that while on patrol, you were ambushed and you were awarded, was it Purple Heart? Was it a combat action badge, a combat infantry badge? Any of those combat related awards, Silver Star, Bronze Star. Bronze Star, if it has a V appurtenance, because a Bronze Star can be given for a multitude of things, not just things that are due to combat. So, just look through your, now in the upper left-hand corner there, that is actually what was pulled from the VA code sheet. The only way you can get your VA code sheet is by doing a forward request to the VA, and it can take 6 months to a year to get it. People don't want to wait. Don't blame them. So if you don't have exactly the information as to what you were rated then compared to now, you can request a disability breakdown letter. And I should have added this onto the slide. So you call up the 800 number for the VA, request a disability breakdown letter, and it's going to give you your ratings for your conditions along with the code which is the item number 3 or C, I'm sorry, where it has the 5237. That's if known. You don't have to have your code. It just helps the examiner or the analyst when they're doing making sure that, okay, it does meet the connect the dots. You can also go into your VBA side of va.gov and look at your documents and be able to pull down your ratings from that, your decision memos from there as well. So if you don't have it, you can go right to the VA site and pull that down. So just to step back for one quick second here.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay. This is where I was talking about secondary conditions.
Mm-hmm.
So the lumbar strain and compression fractured during a bad parachute landing fall, along with an associated condition such as radiculopathy, that would go down into the bottom box. So if the upper box is approved, anything that is secondary is automatically approved.
Wow.
That's why people going through the IDES process are screwed over, plain and simple.
Wow. Wow.
Wow. I did not know that.
Wow. That's good to know.
The more you know, my friend. That's why. So PTSD is a hard one. You can't just get buddy statements. Are not permitted. It has to be there's several different ways you can get PTSD approved. However, sometimes, especially if you were in Iraq in 2005, 2006, a lot of these things didn't occur because you had a command staff that was not given awards, even combat action badges, for people that were just doing their normal jobs, and they might have gone out of the wire, but they, are, went above and beyond. They were engaged with the enemy in one way, shape, or form, but they still, did, the command, no one in the battalion or below is going to get a combat action badge. Well, that's just not taking care of your troops. So for PTSD, it can't be that, the VA rated you for PTSD and, it's documented as part of the MEB that you have PTSD. It has to have concrete supporting evidence to show that you were engaged. So that can also, apply to your awards write-ups, your NCOERs, your OERs, anything that shows exposure. And the last item in that bottom paragraph, a wartime chain of command, I have seen them approved so many times that it is something that is an alternative. But a lot of times, people are years, remote from, their, wartime chain of command and have no way of getting a hold of them. If they have a name like John Smith, it's going to be hard to find John Smith, whether it be in LinkedIn, Facebook, or Together We Served.
Wow.
So the wartime chain of command is something that works. I always recommend, and I give individuals who are trying to get it done the requirements for a combat action badge straight from the Army regulation. If the letter that individual provides meets the requirements for a combat action badge, 99% of the time it will be approved. The key is that they will look up the individual's information, call them, and verify that individual was in your wartime chain of command. So they're definitely gatekeeping here, but in the way that they should.
Wow.
So, an example from an NCOER that, definitely will go the distance. If you don't have anything else, that would pull it off.
It Mike, real quick, can you explain which branch uses the NCOER?
Army uses the NCOER and the OER. I mean, people have to understand that other services actually follow how the Army does their CRSC claims to a degree. So a lot of the information that, even though that it looks like it's strictly for Army, it is applicable across the board. So, when they had this, put together, I'm like, well, I'm stealing this. And they said I could, so I have that. So this goes into more detail what the chain of command letter is supposed to look like. So physical evaluation board results, middle bullet is the most important. Even though the board says that it was combat related, the board's findings have nothing to do with CRSC. The board's findings do have everything to do with non-taxable income. So it also helps when an individual is a civil servant and into the federal employment retirement system, FERS, so it doesn't keep them from losing out on their CRSC. So there has to be combat related on the retirement orders. So this is what the PEB determines. It does not determine anything having to do with CRSC. So keep that in mind. Well, the PEB says that it was combat related. Doesn't matter. Well, the PEB says it was not combat related. Doesn't matter. See? So it's what the VA rated. That's the important thing. So just reiterating the same thing. It's just something that you still have to submit the evidence that proves, because with the VA you can use buddy statements. Well, your buddy's going to write you a positive statement. At least you hope so.
Hope.
Worse, do me a solid. And I'll
If he doesn't, he's not much of a buddy.
Well, that's why
or
it's a buddy
she.
statement. Yep, that's why it's a buddy statement. Wet signature, but then it can be scanned in. It cannot be a digitally signed unless the individual is a DoD civilian, so that they're going to have a CAC to be able to digitally sign it, and they can be looked up in the system. Other than that, digitally signed, any additional documents such as the letter has to have the individual's contact information on it. Do not submit your complete medical record. Just the conditions at the time of injury, or first, that you went to sick call to get, it looked at, is all you need to have in there.
Mr. Tallman, say that one more time for the benefit, not only of the veterans, but for our raiders here, to make them feel good. Say that one more time, what you just said.
Make sure you don't send in all your documentation. I have 6 volumes from my 33 years. It's just from when you were injured and what you were doing at the time. It can't be years after the fact, because memories changed. It needs to have. It needs to be as close as possible. It's the same as line of duties for the reserve components. The line of duties can't be done years after the fact. It has to be. Well, at least for the Army, they've been telling me that, long after the fact, it's kind of hard, to justify that it is actually something that. That they can approve based on that. I don't agree with that. But echelons above colonel, EAC, that's above my pay grade. So, and I've told them, but it doesn't make any difference. But see what else we got here.
Next one. Okay.
Denials, most common reason is the lack of evidence.
Same thing as the VA.
Yep, exactly. Next. How you can get your medical records if you don't have them. You can, it's the VA. It's a full request. They request your full C file, which includes both your DoD records and your VA records, and it will take upwards of 12 to 18 months to get. So, retro pay. If you are less than 20 years and you applied for CRSC, you originally capped for 6 years under a barring statute, which basically says if you do not file within your 6 years of getting out, you will be limited to 6 years. Well, the U.S. Supreme Court threw that out, actually remanded it back to the lower courts, and DOD came out with a interim guidance in August of last year saying, okay, your claims, your retro pay will be only back to the date of receipt by the service. Now, and that's been rescinded. That was rescinded at the end of May. Retro pay will now be done either to the date of the VA rating, the date of retirement, because you have reservists that can have VA ratings before they're actually out of the service, or it's signing into law, such as the PACT Act. So the retro, the retro pay will go back fully instead of being limited to a certain time period. And Army alone has at least 20,000 claims or the approval memos to review. So it's going to take time.
All right, next slide. You want me to go to the next one?
Go to the next one. This is for the Army folks, so you can skip that. I put up these are all the links that specifically for going, to the claim for the DD form 2860, which is on the executive services side of the White House website for all the DD forms. And then a variety of links. I made these as bit.ly links, because if you had to try to type in the Coast Guard link, yeah, you'll be doing that for like 2 to 3 days. It is ridiculously long, no lie. So I made all these, and of course, these are the groups that the PEB Forum, the Veterans Benefit Network, and of course, Facebook and Reddit are the ones where I'm heavily active.
I think that's the last slide.
That is the last slide.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Mr. Tallman, I have one question for you that I was thinking through.
Only one?
Well, one for now, at least.
Disappointed.
And again, this is another one that the Raiders can chime in on. But I have a couple of friends they were Air Force active duty, and they did obviously combat related activities. I don't want to get too much into that, but they did combat related activities that did not involve them physically, as you were talking about earlier, like boots on the ground, pium pium pium.
Right. UAV type.
What they're thinking, but they have certainly mental health concerns as a result of the duties that they had to perform. So are they eligible for combat related special compensation, or are they not?
They're going to be eligible. The thing is that apply. Let those, SMEs, when it comes to the Air Force related stuff, or even, Army with some of the UAVs that they have, let them make the decision. I'm not going to say one way or the other, yes or no. There is a direct correlation, but you're not directly engaged. So it's a hard one, and I'm not going to say yes or no. I'm just going to say apply and let them sort it out.
And thank you for that answer. And then this is for Dwayne and Mr. Davis and Raider and Natural. Those same types of veterans who have these certain types of clearances, a lot of them are not eager to submit VA claims for the types of things that they did over there, because they think that if they talk about their experiences, talk about their stories, talk about what they went through, that they would somehow be violating their top secret security clearance. Some of their records are sealed. How is that looked at as a Raider with regard to combat VA claims and those kinds of things? If you guys could talk a little bit about that.
I never had to deal with CRSC like in any capacity. That wasn't something that I did. But whenever we're talking about like top secret clearance, there's a records research request in which you just check a box to say that the individual had top secret related stuff. And then those with clearance do look, and then all they kind of do is they just give a thumbs up, or, they kind of say, yes or no. They don't elaborate because it won't allow them to. But
Got it.
yeah, that's about what that is.
Okay.
The Air Force Historical Office is very helpful when it comes to the Air Force folks and CRSC claims for
Very
that
good.
reason.
Awesome.
It's something that I do have posted in my Facebook group, the email to their central mailbox.
Yeah, if you can make that available to us, Mr. Tallman, we will make that available for in our post production products, and your slide as
I
well.
will.
I think will be
I will.
Hold on, Keith. I would say I think what I run into a lot of, not so much the security clearance, is more of the actual job that the veteran holds.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to like when it comes to mental health, I've had several cases where the veteran asks for a increase or to be service connected for mental, only to go to the exam and then write us back and say they want to withdraw the claim because of whatever
that
position that they've held. And this is why I tell veterans, it's no one's business on if you're service connected or not. So many veterans want to tell everybody their personal business when it comes to their service connection. And I think that's probably why some of them, kind of teeter on that. Should I file a mental? Now, a lot of mine were like, like FBI or, police or something like that. And a lot of those were withdrawn because of that specific job. So I think that I know that when we we do the background checks, and if there's some type of, with those jobs, mental plays a major factor in those. So I can kind of see that. But I think also that does hinder the veteran, especially if they're having issues in that particular area.
Got it. Thank you so much, Natra. I appreciate that. Tasha, did you have some questions for Mr.
No,
Mr. Davis? Did you have something to add to that? So I know you came.
Yeah, I did. Because I will be remiss if we don't add that, many veterans, I think we miss understanding what it is to be a veteran. You go through the transitional component of actually transitioning from active duty and being reacclimated into civilian life. Once you transition out of the military, you are a everyday civilian. And understanding that, I think the veterans wash away their service time and not understanding. And when they wash away their active duty service time, they never assume the jacket of a veteran. So now you don't even understand or feel that you have the option to garner the benefits or even speak to the issues that you're dealing with because they're so taboo in the civilian sector.
Awesome.
So with that being said, it really can hinder many veterans from feeling comfortable about unlocking and divulging some information that could really help the grader or their CSRC claim or any type of claim that you can actually garner benefits for them. If that transitional gap, there was some assistance there. So I just wanted to add that there.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Mr. Davis. Tasha, if you had some more questions for Mr. Tallman.
No, I wanted to keep this very specific for just the CRSD segment. And I want to bring Mr. Tallman back for all the questions that we have in the comments specific, so that way we can narrow those down so it doesn't get, caught into the middle of everything else here, because CRSC is really outside of the VA. And so that needs to be more, a conversation by itself. So I wanted to,
Sounds good.
So Michael, we would definitely be in touch. Thank you for joining us. Are there any things you want to give us today, Michael, before you leave? And I'll be definitely sure to put this in the description and have this presentation available for all veterans.
I can go on for a long time. I don't think folks, the old man, as they say, he can keep talking, and when he's done, he's done. And
Yes, that's right.
you certainly fit the bill there. But you know what? I love doing this. It's 100% voluntary, and so I cannot accept or request payment of any sort. So, and this just my way of being able to pay back. And the more people know, the better. So this is
That's
definitely
true.
something, I'll on whatever vehicle it takes, because allegedly by the Office of the Actuary, there's approximately 59,000 veterans receiving some sort of CRSC. I think that is woefully inadequate numbers. It's more, I would say, easily tack on another 75 to 100,000 veterans that should be getting it.
Wow.
And that's legit because they got denied and didn't know what to do, or they don't know about it. You don't know what you don't know. Or
Rita, did you have something you wanted to share or say?
Yeah, so there was a slide that was specifically shown that listed off the new PACT Act presumptive conditions like reproductive cancers, things like that. There's actually a VA policy letter 20-24-06, and it specifically lists all like disabilities under those categories that qualify.
Okay.
You should probably check
Can you
it out.
put that in the chat for me, please? And I'll definitely put in the description.
Yeah, I'm on
Okay.
it. I'm on it, Tasha.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that, Rita, because they need it. Go ahead.
Sorry, I'm just going to try to put it in your chat if it will.
Okay.
Yeah, I threw it in there, Rita. Let me see if it comes
Oh,
through.
cool. Okay.
Just the link for it.
That's the link right there.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you, Michael. It's definitely been a pleasure to have you here, and I will definitely be in touch once we get concluded with this, and that way we can have a more centered conversation to include TCAVA and MRSA, which is the Major Register, right? So there's so much that we can get into, but we don't have enough time. The
right, yeah.
time. So definitely, it's definitely been a pleasure. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for dedicating
You're
your
very
time
welcome.
This weekend, and I'll definitely be in touch.
So
It's been a pleasure.
Somebody said they work with you, Michael.
Yeah, I see that here.
Annette Baker. I worked when I was probably from the time when, I wasn't actually at HRC, but I was part of the community-based warrior transition unit, and I went wherever I needed to go to get the word out as to what we were doing, helping, reservists when they came to getting their care after they've deployed. But that's the only way, as a medical service corps officer, we, had our conferences and all. So could very well have been during that time frame. The name rings a bell. I just can't remember where.
Thank you.
Right.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mr. Tom. And you've been a phenomenal resource for us today, and we look forward to the future lives. I think me and Hervet's Voice and Dwayne are talking about possibly around Veterans Day doing something like this again for another one throughout the year. So we'll look at the schedule and see what's going on. So, all right, thank you so much, sir.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Tasha, we do have a couple of people that donated. Want to get to
Go
a
ahead.
shout out and quick question. Annette Baker, she's been a long time.
Yes.
Long time.
Subscriber to the
Yes.
channel. Back when I used to do the free town hall meetings, I was like, man, so she's been around for a while. So thank you, Ms. Baker, for all the support. And here's a question from Donald. I applied for increase for migraines, but proposed for reduction from 30 to 0 with work loss. seen by VA neurologists taking meds from a claim granted in 2024. I guess my quick response to this is, did you understand the diagnostic code criteria for the 50% criteria? Did you reasonably articulate that to the CMP examiner when you went? But most importantly, did you have the evidence to match the 50%? That's my take on it. I'll give that question back to the panel.
If they are,
go ahead, Natural.
if they're proposing to take it from 30 to 0, it's probably because the examiner checked less frequent. And that would, but you also have to take into consideration if the person is losing work, how much work have they lost in a 12-month period? What else is going on? Are they is it interfering with their daily activities? Are they how many migraines? Those are things when the migraine law comes into play, that the veteran should submit. Anytime you're doing an increase, always submit evidence that's going to ensure that increase or your current rating stays in place. That's one of the biggest things I could tell people. Don't automatically assume that you're going to put in an increase and you're going to get granted an increase. Because, and don't think that you don't have to submit any type of medical documentation that shows, hey, they switched my medication 4 or 5 times. They've went up on the dosage. I now go see a neurologist. I go see a pain specialist. Those things, you still have to prove that condition is worsening and it is impacting you daily. So don't just stop once you get service connected thinking that you don't have to submit evidence that is going to support an increase for you.
Raider, anything to add on that, or the retired Raider Dwayne or Mr. Davis?
No, perfectly said.
All right.
I think Raider trying to get them points for the day.
Mr. Davis. Mr. Davis.
Oh, they're working.
Yeah, I think he is.
They got him on production.
He's on production.
Mr. Davis, you want to take that, or
Oh no, I was just going to add possibly being able to make sure that the journal entries are a really, really big help. I think a lot of people miss that easy access point of frequency, right? Frequency and duration. That's such a really big standpoint where you provide context to the physician and rater very easy.
Yeah, prostrating attacks, those kinds of things. Everything that's in that 38 CFR reference for migraine headaches, I think is helpful and useful.
The links is going to be in the description. We're going to make sure we put all the links after today in the description.
Absolutely.
Definitely. We will make sure that they are there. Wow. We are 4 minutes away from 6 hours in.
Listen. We said we were probably going to keep going, right? And so like this is
a little bit.
A little. Dwayne says a little bit.
Wow.
I got that fool calling my name.
We have been here since 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it is the weekend, so I really don't want to take away a lot. But I want to say this. If your question has not been answered, we will definitely create a space. I want to get a verbal commitment from everyone that we can come back to this space and have a dialogue here in a few weeks so we can get these questions answered. Are you guys open to having?
Put a 1 in the chat if you're open. Put a 1 in the chat if you're open.
Raider, Natural, Mr. Davis, FF was here earlier. So that way we can get some of these questions answered and veterans can get it from a different perspective, you know? So let me know if you guys are open to that. I've gotten a couple of emails so far that's saying that this has been phenomenal. This has been great discussing everything. And I know that they're going to put ones in the chat. Look, the ones are already coming.
Put a 1 in the chat if you want to see this again. Maybe even sooner than Veterans Day.
Yeah.
Everyone-
I want to say this. When I brought this to Dwayne, he welcomed it, and also Craig, with open arms. There's never been a moment where we for once took, the time that you guys are going to take for granted of coming to this. Yes, there was a lot of planning behind the scenes, and yes, we met for hours behind the scenes trying to put this together. But I want to say that this brings me joy to see, even to have Raider here, to have Mr. Davis, to have Mike, to have Brianna, to have, even Carrie here. This just shows that this can be a very solid community. We can differ in opinion because we know that we all differ when it comes to certain things, right? But the way that we came together today speaks volumes. So this right here debunks the myths of all outside of the social media. Yes, we're not going to talk about COLA 2027 because it's not important. But
Raider, are you sure you don't want to talk about the 2068 COLA today?
I mean, it is pressing. It's on like the tip of my tongue to discuss it. Well, you just got my trigger word and you're just hugging it. You're hugging the hell out of my trigger words. Okay, fine.
This has been a great collaboration. But before I I know we have a lot of questions, and I want to reassure you guys that your questions are going to be answered. Now, I don't know what the schedule is for Mr. Davis and Raider and and everyone, but we are definitely we definitely need to come back together to answer these questions because they're questions that need to be answered.
Yeah.
So with all that being said, I'm going to give the floor to you guys to say something before we go. And Mr. Davis, we would love to hear from you along with you, Raider and Natural. And Mike, if you want to tune in to say something, and Craig, before we go.
Real quick, Tasha, was FF coming back? She popped in the waiting room. Then she
I didn't know FF was there.
she popped right back out.
She says we have more than enough here. So when we are ready to come back for the next one, she'll be definitely. She's actually doing her PhD. So she used Saturday for her homework days. So I know that it would be a little iffy for her to come today. But guys, FF is another Raider that we team up with Natural and I on our channel, and we just go about it.
Tell her, come on, get some of the smoke. It's okay, we got more than enough.
And listen, Natural and FF are two Raiders, but they're so different. And so we love it when they come together as a team.
Absolutely love it. Yeah.
Both like something and the other one likes it, but we balance, the opinions and how they feel, and we all get along well. I can say that I'm teamed with two most amazing Raiders, and I appreciate my channel. I do.
Good. Awesome.
Go ahead, Dwayne.
Oh, I was just like, want to thank everybody on the panel. Thanks, Raider. I know you came in a little bit later and just stayed the rest of the time. So thank you. Thank you, Her Best Voice and Royal Rock Wellness. We're going to be doing some other stuff. Mr. Davis and I, we collaborate every month as well. Mr. Tallman, excellent presentation on CRSC. A lot of veterans would ask me, and I'm like, it's not my area of expertise. Natural, thank you for coming on as well. I know, I don't know how I could do it on a treadmill. My knees and ankles definitely would not agree with me, but more power to you on that. But just thank I would like to thank all the veterans. Like I said, I've been on YouTube for over 6 years, and just reaching out to smaller channels like Mr. Davis, Her Best Voice, Royal Rock Wellness. I know Ray and I did a live back in January, just coming together and just show veterans that there isn't any animosity between us, because the goal is the same, to give you the right information. Even though we may differ, that's okay, to give you the right information to not only get the benefits that you deserve, but also keep in mind you get to a certain level, then your family are entitled to some benefits as well. So just thank you for supporting all of us, because trust me, these videos that we put out, people, it is not easy. I got a team behind me. It's just not me, and I'm just sitting here. It was at first. It is a lot of work. So thank you for staying the 6 hours, and just the support over the years. And make sure you subscribe to everyone's channel. Thank you.
Awesome. Let me just, unless Mr. Davis or some of the other panelists have some words, I want to kind of just give some final words. Thank you to all the veterans who have joined us today. This has been a phenomenal event. I think it's even much more than what we had originally thought it would be. It's been a pleasure to team with Dwayne and with her best voice. And, you know, a lot of these people on the panel really don't need much introduction. Raider, thanks for joining us, hopping on the stream. You know, I echo the sentiments about Natural and FF just being really good resources in the community. I want to let veterans know that I know sometimes it can be triggering to think about your claim. It can be triggering sometimes to see content creation on YouTube and other places, and there's a lot of information flowing back and forth. What I want to encourage you to do is I want you to be encouraged that there are people on here. There are people on the internet, people on YouTube, content creators who really want you to thrive. We really want you to submit claims. But the message I want to send today is that it's much more than about just your VA claim. It's about your mental, emotional, physical health, right? It's about your families. It's about your dreams, your goals, your visions, and what you want to accomplish post military service. And so what we try to do as content creators, yes, we're going to make sure we have all the information so that you can submit your claim in a current, accurate, and complete way. But we want to make sure you got the resources that you need to live the life that you want to live. Oftentimes, as you can see from a lot of the congressional hearings that Hervette's Voice does, and a lot of the stories that Dwayne tells, and a lot of the things that you know, the some of the questions that Raider gets, you can tell oftentimes that, you know, there's not a lot of love for veterans out here these days, right? So what we want to try to do is build a community. We want you to make sure you feel safe. We want to make sure you feel loved and affirmed in this community where you can ask a question. You don't have to worry about anybody thinking that you're asking too many questions. We are here to help. Most of us do this for very little, if any, kind of anything, because it's a labor of love for us veterans to help you guys and to make sure you have all the information that you need. And as I say, listen, no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, no matter what you're going through, no matter where you find yourself, I want you to live royally and I want you to live well, because that's the goal. That's what we're aiming for. And please understand that you can reach out to us for whatever you need. Let me do some housekeeping as well, some sort of post housekeeping, everything that's from this channel, right? Dwayne and Tasha and myself, we're going to go back into the lab and we're going to create a bunch of post-production products for you guys. We got collaborations, as Dwayne mentioned, in the future. All of the guests on the panel, you know, they are all open for our future collaborations on this particular project. But then I'm quite sure we will link up for collaborations 2x2, 3x3 in other areas. And I want you to listen. I'm not just saying this because we want more views or clicks. None of us are worried about that. We want you to subscribe to our channel so that you can have the resources, the accurate qualifying resources, and the resources that are true that you need, right? Listen, we're gonna have we're gonna have resources for everybody. Born accredited claims, Berry Law firm who wasn't able to join us today, Hill and Ponton, their YouTube channel, Prepare to Compete, Mr. Davis, you know, Mr. Tallman. We'll have everybody's information. Brianna's information will all be out there. Liz's information from SSDI. We thank her for joining us. All of this information will be available to you guys free 99. And if you're from the hood, you know what that means. Free 99. None of this information will be charged for you. All we ask of you is just to support our channels. We want to get the word out to as many veterans as possible. Everybody's not like Dwayne. They ain't got like umpteen thousand million subscribers. Everybody's not like Dwayne, right? So
that's true. That's true.
The corners of the earth.
Some of us have to work for a living. I'm joking.
Listen,
I'm joking.
The corners of the earth that he has not reached, though they may be small, we would love to reach them.
So remember,
I want to say this, that my channel is called Hervette's Voice, and I want women veterans to know before I leave here, I want to let you know that you are seen, you are heard, and you are capable. Anything women veterans, you can find it on my page. I sit down, I have 2 Raiders who are women, and we talk about all things women. Now, women, I want you to know that you are seen, you are heard, you are understood. What you're feeling in your body, even though the VA does not fully accept it, we understand. So I want you to know that I created a space called Hervette's Voice because I felt like women needed their unique voice when it comes to veterans. I'm tired of somebody asking me about my husband's social, and I don't even have a husband. right?
Mm,
I totally get it. I want you guys to know and understand that
sure.
you are seen, you're a woman. Go to the VA boldly, hold your head up, and talk about the things that's not usually talked about. And that's what I do. So we created a space called Her Vet's Voice because women need a voice. Okay. And I want you to know that your voice is being heard and seen. And if there's anything that I can do to help you, send me an email at hervetsvoice@gmail.com.
Awesome. Awesome. So thanks everybody. We really appreciate you coming
But
on. If
we
go
got
ahead, Dwayne,
FF there,
some
so
final
we
words.
gotta give her a couple of questions.
Oh,
FF.
She
FF has
said
joined us.
she said she wanted
Hey,
she need a
Hi.
break from that PhD.
Listen,
Hi, everyone.
yeah.
So
Hey,
FF is a raider as well. And for you guys, I know you're probably kind of questioning why you're not seeing their faces. We are just going by the ethics with the VA. We make sure that they are protected, the work that they do, the time that they spend. This is time that they're taking off of their free time to assist veterans. And so we are going to respect their work, their careers, their lives. And we prefer to keep things at what it is. So don't ask me about sharing their faces. Don't ask me about their names. Their names are FF and Natural, and that's all you need. That's it.
Well,
Excellent.
I'll kick it off real quick. FF, somebody said earlier that they would like they got 200 active claims, maybe a 010
Oh, wow.
or 020 that
Oh,
they need
God.
to be directed straight to you.
Straight
Oh,
to you,
Jesus.
FF.
Straight to you. Yeah. And all of them above,
They're all
each one of them
CUEs.
have 1,000 pages.
Mm.
And
They're all
so
CUEs.
yep, and you got to get them done. It's going to go against your production. So
Yeah,
we'll
I'll
say
do what
you.
I can. And, if I have to solicit a few claims, that's what I'll do. But I'll do everything I can to get it done in your favor.
Is that like break a knee? Break somebody's knee? Is that soliciting a claim?
Solicitation claim.
So,
let's
FF,
make-
if you can you tell us a little bit about you as being a raider, not going into your personal thing, but just tell us how long you've been doing this, and so the community can know and what to know a little bit about FF.
It's been, thank you so much. Yes, as you saw in the comment, working on my PhD. So I have a proposal that I'm going to initially submit, of course, towards the end regarding veterans and their presumptives. My capstone is going to present that instead of the veteran filling out for the information, because we have the locations, the diagnosis, we're running through the system, of course, get, HIPAA approval, those sort of things, but it's to make the process transparent and easier for the veteran for things that we're going to concede. That way, they'll have better access to programs. They'll have, additional compensation. Maybe that's the reason, we're seeing veterans that are homeless, but this is to help the veteran population. Aside from that, I've been doing this for a few years. Initially, I thought it was a scam. And I was like, how did I get here? But after I graduated from law school, they had a posting. And I was like, why not? Because, of course, after you get out of law school, nobody's paying you any money. So I was like, why not? So I tried it. Here I am, and I like it. It's a demanding job. I won't say it's easy. You have to take your time and review all the evidence that you have. But I do that with every case that comes across my desk because every veteran is different. And all raters, rate differently. My view is from the law forward because I don't want the veteran to have to take additional steps, going to the BVA, things like that. I think it's unnecessary. But at the end of it, I'm definitely here to help veterans with her vet voice. I'm on her channel most of the time. I've been slipping a little here lately, but I am here for you all.
Well,
Amazing.
thank
Thank
you,
you.
FF, for what you do, and I definitely I could concur with that. It's not easy some days, and I felt myself especially those first 6-7 months going through my initial training, I was mentally drained. I was physically tired from being mentally drained with all this information being thrown at me, and then just the training every month going through. It took me about 24 months to get comfortable. I was on, even though I was on single signature, 24 months just to get like a little bit comfortable. So even, I know Mr. Davis, Raider, Natural, and yourself is, Natural and yourself are still doing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, just thank you for what you're doing. And
Oh, absolutely. I'm here to help. Me and my partner, Natural, we're kind of yin and yang of each other, but we have a good balance, I'll say. But we're definitely here to help. So just feel free, to come with your questions or concerns so that we can make sure you get properly rated.
I'm glad you said that, FF, because we have amassed about 10 pages worth of questions. So yeah, get ready.
Natural, Raider, do you guys want to say anything before we go? Mr. Davis?
I know Raider does.
Yeah, Raider has something to say for sure.
I will give Raider the Natural. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I appreciate you guys for allowing us to be a part of the panel. It's definitely a blessing to be able to be heard and everyone come on with their different perspective, but still have the same goal in mind. The respect on this panel is outstanding. And I look forward to have more of these panels to come on and help veterans. And definitely FF is the nice one. I'm the grumpy.
Oh, we know that.
I'm gonna tell it like this.
We love you for it.
Yeah. But I mean well. I don't try to disrespect anyone.
Right.
My main goal is to help the veteran and help them to understand. And sometimes, it's like when you were younger and you had the old big mamas, not the new big mamas, the old big mamas, I'm that. I'm the old big mamas. The new big mamas, they questionable. The old big mamas, they tell I'm that. I'm gonna tear you up, but then I'm gonna love on you and tell you why.
That's right.
So I just really am so blessed to have come upon her vets, and then it just blossomed into all this. It's just outstanding. Thank y'all.
Mr. Davis? You're on mute. Oh, there we
go. Yes, there we are. Well, I just want to kind of lead in to say, it's definitely an honor to be here with all of these great minds. I can't thank you guys enough for the work you do, because advocacy is not an easy job. So what I will say is that, veterans, we are all here to serve you. So understanding that, please understand that we are here with open hearts, open minds, and also opening that M21, right? So
yeah.
At the end of the day, we're all here with the same mission, and collectively coming together, you have the opportunity to hear and also ask questions to some of the people across the land to really get your questions answered. That really, really is some of the most complex items that, some people will never be able to see. So ask the questions, come on the channels, and really get the advocacy you deserve, because you serve, and now it's time to really access your benefits. So I really appreciate everyone here, and also appreciate every veteran across the land.
Raider?
And the reason why I like Raider's impression, I listen to Godfrey and other people do Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he is by far the best one.
Compared to what he's about to do.
I heard Godfrey does it, but his is like spot on. So that's why I always
boy.
Yeah.
You're going to make me blush. It's just too amazing. Come on, sit in here. I have amazing people. As the governor of California, I never had it so well. I mean, I count to 5 and then I get dizzy, and then no. No, I like. I'm happy to come on. Like, see, for me, like the thing that matters is education, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm down with anything that's due with educating veterans and not like. And this is just my own personal thing. Is everybody kind of has their own thing that they're doing? That's fine as long as the veteran is the first thing in your mind. Doing right by the veteran is the first thing in your mind. And that's why I'm comfortable coming on here, is because I feel like that's the case. And it's not like some kind of, veteran money pinata that people are trying to hit, like, no, I mean that though.
Yeah.
I mean that because like there's a difference with maybe FF and Natural. Being a raider, you didn't really notice, in my perspective, you didn't really notice the veteran experience, even though I'm a veteran myself, I didn't, my understanding of what the landscape was for education on the veteran side was woefully underrepresented as to what it really is. It is not like the VA is doing the veteran community a disservice by not teaching them things that they should already know. So every time that I see like a group of people come out and they put the veteran first, right? They want to answer the questions, and there's no like, hey, look, yeah, give me $400 and I'll answer that one question for you, type thing. And that's what I like about this, is because it's more education than it's not. And that's what I'm about. So
awesome. Yeah, we're so happy to have you, Raider. Glad to have you come up and join us. You have been burning up these YouTube streets, and we all love and appreciate the work that you do and the hours that you put in. And just to that note, there's a lot of information out here, veterans. Do yourself a favor and take care of yourself. Because all of us deal with anxiety, PTSD, depression, all of those things, right? So take care of yourself when it comes to what you consume in the VA claims content space, because you can go down rabbit holes that you'll find yourself not being able to get out of if you're not careful. So take care of your mental health, take care of your physical health, take care of your families, and listen, be grateful and be proud about the service that you've done, and don't let your VA claim define who you are. You're much, much more than whatever compensation level that they put on you. That's not your value. Your value is much more, and your worth and your dignity and your honor and respect is much more than that.
All right, Dwayne, it's on you. Let's close this chapter out, guys.
Let's get this chopper out of here, Dwayne.
As we plan the next one, please keep your eye out for the emails. We are going to start brainstorming the next one so it can be much more developed, and it'll probably be all day because Dwayne got the nuggets. He got the nuggets.
It'll probably be it may be 8 hours. If it's Veterans Day, y'all don't have to go to work, so we'll just.
But they trying to go eat the free food, so we might.
Yeah. Oh no, we don't want to stop that. We don't want to stop y'all from getting the free food. Just don't go to Golden Corral. It's too many hands in that buffet. Don't go to Golden Corral.
Go to Sizzlers.
So we'll be planning the next one here, brainstorming it for closer to the end of the year. So keep your eye on your email, and it's up to you, Dwayne. You close it out.
All right, I'm going to hit the end stream.
Take care, guys.
Take care, everybody.
All right.
Thank you.
Very much.
right.
Thanks, guys.